Over the last 7 years, me and my team, we've worked with a lot of pretty cool dudes, a lot of men in their 60s, got them optimal testosterone, and also five dudes, we got them off testosterone replacement therapy. And this is one of the tools that we use. Consistent energy will drive optimal testosterone. This might be all you need to get to that place. No fancy supplements required. So I've done three videos in this already, and they're in a playlist called the Nine Core. They're all linked below. But let's have a look at our nine core principles. So the first one, the system is busted. They failed me miserably, and they lie to you about testosterone, and they say that it declines as you age, which is unequivocally false. There are men in their 90s, which isn't rare, that are making as much testosterone and dihydrate testosterone as they were in their 20s. And I know that's hard to believe. The proof is in that video. Now, the next one in our nine core principles are labs. And I'm going to touch on them today. And I've done a comprehensive video on that one, and it is in the nine core principles. Now, today, it's all about energy. And this might be all you need to unlock your testosterone for life and thrive. And as I mentioned in this first video there, it affects every area of your life, and you can keep it for life, optimal levels. So today, it's all about unlocking your energy pathways 24/7. So let's talk about it. So there's going to be eight things we'll discuss here today, and they're all important and in no necessary order, but I like to start with this one right here, crappy food and chemicals. Now, you're intelligent. You probably more than likely know that, the chemicals, they're not too good for you, but you've been told low dose is okay. Now, we've got a complete elimination plan. It is linked below in the comment. Now, the last video I did, it was all about the inhibitors and the wasters of testosterone. And I'll touch on it here today. So stick with me. And again, if you like what you hear, you like what I'm about, help me out, like and share. That'll help me reach more men because I really want men to thrive. I'm just so sick and tired of them, like I was, feeling sick and tired. So that's why I reached out to experts 9 years ago and everything changed. So, number one, we are exposed to low doses. And the way I think about it is this. You wake up in the morning, you splash on a bit of this, you eat a bit of that, you breathe in a bit of this, you wear a bit of that, and by the end of the day, you are drunk with chemicals. Now, most of them mimic estrogen. So when your body thinks you've got too much estrogen, you're shut down from making testosterone until your liver clears out all of these toxic chemicals. Why would you do that to yourself? Now, as you can see here, there's like 100,000 of these chemicals that we can potentially be exposed to, and it's very easy to avoid them, as you can see here. Phthalates and parabens. Now, check this out. Over here, plasticizers and phthalates and parabens, both of which are in many personal care products, medications, food, preservatives, have been associated with serious fucking health problems like infertility, your testosterone. Testicular dysgenesis, that doesn't sound too helpful, especially long-term testosterone production. A lot of men, this is what's going on. Obesity, asthma, allergies, and even the big C word here. They're in cosmetics and they're estrogenic. They mimic estrogen. So when they're in your body, you're shut down cold from making your man juice. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you why that's pretty crappy indeed. So let me just make this a bit smaller. Scale this one down. Now, in this book here by Shanna Shawn, PhD, and this is all she researches, she is worried about future generations. Like over the last, I think it's 50 years, 50% decrease in fertility. So this is going on, and they're saying low dose is okay. Look at this one here. This is anti-androgenic chemicals. Pregnant lady. So when you're exposed to these anti-androgenic chemicals, irreversible demasculinizing consequences. And they're in things like Tylenol. And that's what she said in her book there. Now, a lot of these chemicals, again, they will mimic estrogen and shut down your testosterone, and they lower what little testosterone you got left. And guess what else they do? Screw up your thyroid hormone. So you don't have a lot of energy at all. So this is what's really going on. So we got two problems. Problem number one is here, and problem number two is over here. So I talked about this in this video there, in the 9 core principles, the aromatization. So that's what this all means here. So check this out. You know, you might be capable of making like 800 or maybe even 1200 testosterone, and we've got some guys up to 1400, but you're only making, say, 400 or maybe 250, and they'll tell you that's okay. It's not okay at all. So you've got suboptimal testosterone anyway. So what happens when it's suboptimal for you? Well, your body is financing wars it can't pay for. So cortisol, insulin, leptin, and inflammation, and xenoestrogens, what we've been talking about, they're all up. So that increases your estrogen production tenfold by aromatization. So what is aromatization? What little testosterone you got left is aromatized into estrogen, which in turn pushes up your cortisol, which in turn increases aromatization ninefold. And then your appetite goes up because you're fatigued and feel like shit. So your insulin goes up. And again, this aromatizes your testosterone another sixfold. So think about that. You got a 25 fucking fold increase in estrogen. And this down here, as I mentioned, testosterone converted into estrogen under the action of the enzyme aromatization can contribute to your ball sack getting smaller. So everything, so the men that are experiencing this right now, it's not their fault. They just haven't figured this out yet. And we'll talk about the other 8 steps. Now, another thing to understand, as I mentioned, your body's financing wars it can't pay for. Testosterone down, energy down, brain fog up, anxiety up, all of that shit's up because your liver is burdened as fuck. It's metabolizing estrogen, these toxins, these contaminants, all of this crap. So it is just burdened. And then you've probably got nutrients that you're lacking. And then over here, you're probably not eating enough amino acids and you've got more nutrients that you're lacking. So your liver's just like, dude, I can't keep up, man. You know, stop eating this crap and fucking putting on these personal care products that are full of shit, man. And it's giving you warnings, you know. So here's another problem. You've got stage 1, oxidization, stage 2, conjugation, and stage 3, extrusion. So through number 2. Now here's the problem. If you've got poor gut health and also your big beta-glucuronidase enzymes are too high or too low, when all your liver detoxes the estrogens and all these heavy metals and shit, it goes into the colon and it goes back out of the colon into systemic circulation for round 2 to do it all over again. So your liver's like, dude, didn't I just do that job? What the hell gives? And that's because you got a sick gut. Now, the reason you got a sick gut is because you're eating a lot of toxic, shitty food. This is me and my good friend Dr. J. He did a 5-year PhD on sex hormones. And we were on our call together and we're just talking about big food. So listen to this conversation.
Guess that would be because they're highly addictive, soy proteins. Walk us through that.
Exactly. Yeah, so exactly. I was going to mention this, that there's only a few plants that act on your opioid receptor. And gluten is one of them. Dairy is one of them, casein in dairy. And then soy is one of them. Those are the big hitters. And so they're addictive. So food companies put those 3 things. They put dairy proteins, they put gluten proteins, and then they put soy proteins in food products, literally just to make them more addictive. And sometimes they don't even put them on the label. You're lucky if the fact that it's actually on the label. And of course, people aren't reading the label when they're going to a fast food restaurant like KFC. They're just getting whatever, and they're not even looking at the ingredients.
Yeah.
But even sometimes they're legally allowed, companies are legally allowed to put natural ingredients or natural flavors on labels. So you don't even necessarily know if they're sneaking some of these opioid receptor binding, these heroin like molecules,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Heroin mimicking molecules, these addictive molecules into your food.
Yeah. And we keep coming back for more because they make us feel temporarily good, but they bring down everything that's important to us, our energy and our testosterone.
Right. And you become more dependent on them.
Mm.
And so it's hard to get off of them. And then it's hard to stop eating. And, so it becomes more of a, more than just an intellectual problem for a lot of people. A lot of people know it's bad for them. They keep doing it anyway.
Yeah. And to make matters worse, a lot of these opioid peptides, they lower SAMe and glutathione.
Right.
So that's pretty detrimental, isn't it? So for detox and liver, what's going to happen?
Yeah, so glutathione, one of the main functions is just clearing heavy metals. And so you're going to end up with more heavy metal buildup. You're going to end up with more oxidation between both of these.
Yeah, basically, it's going to destroy your liver and it's going to destroy your gut. And it goes back in your blood for round 2. You do it all over again, rinse, repeat. And it tanks your glutathione and also methylation SAMe. And we'll talk about that as we progress in these 8 steps here. But check out glutathione. Like eating this food lowers glutathione. It's highly fucking addictive. It destroys your gut, destroys your liver. It is just toxic shit. And because you're fatigued, you're like, I can't do food prep. Fuck this shit. So what do? KFC, Macca's, fast food. Make it all fucking worse because you're addicted to it. So you got brain diseases, including depression, bipolar, ADHD, ADD, this shit here, autism, brain diseases, ALS, Parkinson, this thing here, immune issues and cancer, but you've also got arthritis, asthma, which I nearly died from in 2017. That's why I'm here speaking to you today. Cardiovascular disease and your performance in the fucking bedroom, man, starts tapping out the the flaccid erections. And then you've got the pancreas and also, your blood sugar, but the pancreas also releases digestive enzymes, satiety hormones. So it's tapping out. So you're just like, I'm so hungry. I don't know what to do, man. And that's because your thyroid's tapping the fuck out. And then you've over here, skin issues, infertility, cystic fibrosis, gout, chronic fatigue, arthritis, accelerated aging. Are you okay with that? Or do you want to fund big food, big pharma? I don't know about you, but to hell with that. Now, I know this looks fucking delicious, but it is big toxic. They spray it with a whole bunch of crap you don't want. They've got these toxic bloody wheat proteins and soy proteins and sugars and emulsifiers and preservatives and a whole bunch of crap that's going to destroy your gut. Tasty, isn't it? Toxic, like kryptonite, because it's also gonna, these pesticides, damage your mitochondria in your ball sack. And we'll talk about that very shortly. So, what we've covered so far in opening up your energy pathways 24/7, crappy food and chemicals, very toxic, and plastics as well. Get away from those plastics. Food sensitivities. Now, this is no joke at all. Now, these food sensitivities, and I've got a PDF you can download below, labs and shit like that. There's basically 3 ways that you can do it. So more than likely, you probably know 0 ways. You've really got to know 3 ways. You can do an extreme elimination diet. I don't like to do that. Or you can do testing, DNA, or you can do IgG, immune testing. There's a plethora of things you can do. And that download, it'll show you what to do. Now, when I went through and did my certificate in nutrition, let me bring this to front, I went through and did training with Dr. Daddis. You've probably heard me speak about him before. It took me about close to 2 years to go through all of his training, gut health, immune health, brain health, hormonal health, food sensitivities, all of that. When I went through the immune part of it, I was just like, this is me. This is what happened to me. And if I had known this 15 years before 7 years ago, it would save me a lot of suffering. 5 shoulder surgeries, asthma, high blood pressure, skin issues, gut issues, anxiety, all this crap I was suffering with. So check this out.
Now, the healthcare system is only designed to look for stage 3. They don't do antibodies in the initial stages. Insurance companies don't pay for antibodies in the early stages. And even though the research has shown that antibodies can be predictive for autoimmune diseases, it's not part of routine healthcare. So there's a gap between what research finds and then what actually gets implemented in the healthcare system. So if you're walking into your insurance model, healthcare model, there's going to be no effort or diagnostic testing even approved designed to look for these early antibodies that will determine if you have autoimmunity. And because of that, many people suffer for years and years and years before they get diagnosed because they're not in stage 3 where they have full tissue destruction. So that's the concept of autoimmunity stages. Stage 1, silent, just the antibodies, no symptoms. Stage 2, they start to have symptoms for whatever tissue is being attacked by their immune system. And stage 3, they finally progress into a disease process. Remember I showed you those statistics in the first part of the course where they showed 50 million people may have autoimmune disease, or 4% of the world population may have it, or 12% of women has autoimmune disease. Those are all in reference to stage 3. If you actually look at the numbers of people that are in stage 1 or 2, the numbers would be much, much higher.
Yeah, I was in stage 2. And look at that screen. You've got antibodies. You're in an inflammatory autoimmune disease process. You could be 20, you could be 30, no symptoms yet, but they're there. They're not checking for them. No prevention whatsoever, no root cause, no detective work at all. Now you've got these symptoms, and they say, oh, it's just normal, man. Suck it up, princess. Oh, you got a bit of brain fog. Oh, your memory's not quite there. No, gut issues, skin issues. Oh, your testosterone's fucking down. Energy's not where it's supposed to be. You've got symptoms. You've got problems. And you get to stage 3, all bets are off. They will prescribe you powerful corticosteroids to take away the pain and things to help your immune system. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait for that. So these food sensitivities, they are no joke. And these food sensitivities will absolutely destroy your energy because they will destroy your sleep. They crap out your sleep. Now, you might think, no, I think I slept pretty well. Probably not. Because if you're not having a very high functioning day full of energy, you probably didn't sleep very well. You probably got this autoimmune process starting to play out. You got inflammation starting to play out. So you wake up with a very empty sack of testosterone, so your cognition tanks, because it's important for cognition, and your mood tanks, so you struggle through the day. Now your insulin is up, which aromatizes your testosterone. So what little T you've got left aromatizes it, and your cortisol is up, so it also aromatizes it. And because your cortisol is up while you sleep, it aromatizes it and you don't make a lot of testosterone while you sleep. So you wake up with a little bit of testosterone and a lot of estrogen. So the cortisol, the insulin, the leptin, the xenoestrogens, the chemicals, the inflammation, it's just crushing you. And it's easy to fix. It really is. Because, 40, 50, hypogonadism, which is no joke. Now, the great news is you can increase testicular weight and size. The research is there. We've successfully gotten 5 men off TRT. One was on for over 4 years, successfully got him off. So you can do it when you work with the right team. So we've talked about crappy ass foods, fucking chemicals, and food sensitivities. Now we're going to talk about the powerhouses in your cells, which are the mitochondria. So this is an image, microscope image of the mitochondria inside a heart cell. So they're producing cellular energy. Now, we've got about 40 trillion cells. Some say less, some say more. Who cares? We've got a fucking shit ton. Now, inside those trillions of cells, you've got anywhere from a few hundred to 10,000. I think the ovaries in a lady, 100,000. Massive amount of mitochondria. So your heart's got about 10K, your eyes 10K, your prefrontal cortex, your money maker, your earning potential, your memory, 10K. So check out this. This is incredible. So you see these little small ones? They're busted. They need help. And you can do that. So let's talk about what the mitochondria actually do. They're producing your ATP. Few hundred in some cells, 10,000 in your brain. Pretty important that we get these sons of bitches healthy. So it's all about energy. Now, they are also in control of making your neurotransmitters for cognition and mood. In the periphery, your body, immune function, gut health. They are a necessary component of the cell to make your testosterone. Healthy mitochondria, RNA, DNA repair, the big C, you know what I mean? Lipids. So you want to get the abs, yeah? Well, they are a necessary component to burn body fat. We need healthy mitochondria. And what about protein synthesis? Yep, these hard-working little organelles in your cells, they are facilitating protein synthesis in your muscles and in your entire body. Our body is a protein machine, bones, skin, all of it. And when your DNA makes a protein, that is protein synthesis right there. Homeostatic balance of different systems in your body. And this is what me and my team believe is super important that the mitochondria do. They communicate to cells, systems, and organs in your amazing body. Central nervous system, cognition, mood, sports performance, central nervous system, your intestines, so you're absorbing nutrients from your food, and also the microbiome, gut health, circadian system. If your circadian system isn't set, they will suffer. Your metabolic systems, your detox, everything, and of course your immune system. Now down here, they are in control of gene expression, epigenetic pathways, and cell fate. So if they're sick, your cells, your telomeres, are shortening very quickly. So you are aging super fast. Now you can get rid of the old busted ones, and I'm going to talk about this on the next video, and you can replace them with brand new V8 mitochondria. So I've got a couple of videos here to play. The first one is from Dr. Alexis Cohen. She got her PhD from one of the top metabolic labs on the planet, Princeton. And this is what she said about the mighty mitochondria.
Day, you're turning on the processes that allow your body to deplete the damaged mitochondria from its cells. And so in effect, what you're doing is you're purifying that colony. And then we can engage things like mitochondrial biogenesis, or the production of new mitochondria from the good ones. And now in effect, you actually can reverse age, because aging is really dictated by the levels of mutation within mitochondria. If we look at the research, Doug Wallace's work shows that you gain about 10% mutation burden per decade of life. And what that's doing is by the time you're 80 or 90 years old, now your mitochondria look like they're 80 or 90, but you could also be 20 years old and have mitochondria in your liver that look like they're 80, depending on, what hand you were dealt and the lifestyle factors and environment that you spend a lot of time in. And so it's very actionable to literally reverse age in order to optimize health.
As she said there, Professor Doug Wallace, I think about 5 decades of research on the mitochondria. Let's go over here and we'll talk about it. Boom, open up. So problem number 1 is that every 10 years that you don't optimize your health and your mitochondria, blood labs and all, they go through 10% heteroplasmy. So fission, small damaged mitochondria, you saw that. You saw them really sick and not working too well. So that's problem 1. And problem 2, they are mutated. Their DNA have mutated. So I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty shitty to me. Now, the mitochondria have got this thing called the electron transport chain, which I'll talk about in a few slides from now. Suffice to say that when you have really shitty mitochondria, they are very vulnerable to any insult, chemical, emotional, heavy metal, anything. and they will uncouple your proteins, that whole transport chain to make cellular energy. And guess what? Food sensitivities, as I learned from Dr. Daddis, screw them up. They're screwing up. That's why food sensitivities are huge. So listen to what he has to say about the food sensitivities.
One response with food sensitivity is just swelling throughout the body. So some people notice when they eat foods, they start to get really swollen. They may have a hard time identifying what it is when it's a food sensitivity because the reaction can be delayed. And then another one is fatigue. Food sensitivities with people is they just lose their energy. They just get tired all the time and they don't know why. And they're really frustrated by that. So systemic inflammation can actually uncouple what are called mitochondria in cells, which are used to make energy. So chronic inflammation can reduces their production of ATP, which is energy. Many people get just this weird type of tiredness and fatigue when they have food sensitivities. Another major one is change in their cognitive functions. They get brain fog all the time. They can't think. They can't focus.
You get the idea. So, pretty big issue. Now, testosterone, mitochondria. So every 2 hours, that's right, every 2 hours, your brain sends out pulses of the gonadotropins, FSH, spermogenesis, and LH. So boom, out of the brain, into the blood, to the ball sack. It goes down this energy pathway. So you can see clearly now that you need energy and healthy mitochondria to make a lot of man juice, testosterone, dihydrotestosterone. Then you need good blood pressure, nitric oxide. They converge onto the rate limiting step, the star protein, cholesterol into the mitochondria every 2 hours, testosterone. And there's also ways that you can increase testosterone using your brain and the way you move, the way you think, everything. And it's not hard to do. But you also have to have a very good detox capacity. And one of the ones that I see quite frequently that a lot of people don't have is adequate levels of choline. So let's unpack that. Now, choline, if you have a deficiency in choline, which you get through egg yolks and different things, it's not really in plants at all. So the vegans out there, yeah, you're not really getting a lot of choline. Choline deficiency, inflammation, liver enzymes go up, DNA damage, oxidative stress, lipid peroxidization. NHANES database estimates that 91.7% of people deficient in choline. And your doctor will blame these liver enzymes on protein and shit like that. Ridiculous. And it gets worse. A lot of people have hay fever, seasonal allergies, use cough mixture like Benadryl there. They are anti-cholinergic, choline. So choline, acetylcholine, neurotransmitter for brain health, memory. Choline phospholipids, liver detox, cell membranes, cell division, methylation, which I'll speak about very, very soon, which is foundational. So this one thing alone can cause a lot of deleterious health outcomes. So here it is here for the liver, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. That's where choline goes down through the bile salts to detox you. So if you're not having enough choline, we have some big issues. So right now, we're just going to quickly touch on labs because I think this is very important. We're going to tie this all in very soon. Now, a lot of people, when they go to their doctor looks for things like diabetes, blood sugar. They don't even check insulin, which is the real thing you need to check. They'll check your cholesterol, which is ridiculous. They'll also check your liver and kidney function. Very rarely will they check your inflammation. And this is only one. Now, here's the problem with standard labs. Your physician will tell you that if you're between 1 and 3, you're good, send you on your way, which is ridiculous. Ridiculous. You need it to be at least 1 and below, where we get the people that we help 0.5 and below. Because when it's between 1 and 3, that's chronic inflammation. This is what shows up. 45, 55, 65. Atherosclerosis, heart disease, neurological disease, memory issues, Alzheimer's, dementia, autoimmune disease, those antibodies that I mentioned earlier, arthritis, I had 5 shoulder surgeries. I was in an inflammatory autoimmune disease process and I had no clue. The big C word there, lupus, fibromyalgia, and of course you are fatigued because your body is financing wars it can't possibly pay for. If you want any hope in hell in increasing your testosterone, you have to be under 1 at least or zero point 0.5 and below, because when it's above that, your testosterone comes down. It's what I call the balance of power, right there. Now, the next thing that they very rarely check is homocysteine. Old homocysteine here. So as you can see, this was done recently in Australia. DNA damage, brain disease, the old C word there, chronic diseases, the autoimmune diseases we've been discussing, food sensitivity, gut issues, skin issues, brain fog, accelerated aging, right? So the old homocysteine, it's been linked to lesions in your arteries, plaque, atherosclerosis, epilepsy, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, memory issues, eyesight and hearing, your ball sack, your endocrine system, skeletal system, and over here, your kidneys. So, another thing that will tank when your homocysteine is kind of too high, where should it be? Where should homocysteine be? Between 5 and 7, 8 at a max. And if they check it, I've had some people come to me and their physician has flat out refused to check this one. I can't understand why. They'll say 14.5 and below is okay. No, not even close. So you got low glutathione, you got low superoxide dismutase, 1 and 2. And when you've got low superoxide dismutase 2, as you can see here with elevations in homocysteine, a 10-fold high incidence of heart disease. It's a shit show. And there's the low glutathione issues as well. Now, right here, the final thing I'll talk about when it comes to these goddamn labs is that, as you can see, the superoxide dismutase 2, it crashes your redox potential because they are active in the mitochondria. Right? That's the mitochondria. So it's destroying your mitochondria. So on the next video, we're going to talk about all of those things to increase your redox potential. So step number 4 in our 9 core principles is redox to detox, and also gut health for that matter. So the mitochondria are mighty important, as you can now see. So the next thing we have to make sure that is absolutely on point is the circadian rhythm. Now, I've done a video on this. It's linked below if you want to know how to do this. It's very easy to do. But if you don't have your circadian rhythm set in stone, 1, 2, 3 big issues. Like, this is huge, and everybody discounts it. They think it's no big deal. It is a very big deal because your emotions turn to shit. Your mood turns to shit. You're irritable, anxiety, loss of empathy, frustration, impulsivity, negative salience, self-defeating thoughts. Then because you're fatigued, you use way too much caffeine and stimulants. And at the end of the day, it's just like, man, I just need to take the edge off this anxiety here, or your irritability and the frustration. Alcohol makes it all worse. And then your moneymaker, your earning potential, cognitive performance, memory consolidation, long-term potentiation, working memory, attention, ADHD, all that bullshit's misdiagnosed, concentration, communication, decision-making, creativity and productivity, motor performance, and social connectivity. And a lot of people think that, geez, man, I'm just getting older. Like, I just can't focus anymore. And these food sensitivities are driving that. If you recall earlier, if you have food sensitivities, you won't get great sleep. Then long-term health consequences. You're sleepy throughout the day, microsleeps, cardiovascular disease, altered stress response thresholds, lowered immunity, infection, the big C. Yep. Metabolic abnormalities, the mitochondria, tapping the fuck out. Blood sugar issues, diabetes, depression, and psychosis. So I've got a video all about that. Now, the next one is, you've probably never heard this before, low deuterium. We need to have our deuterium levels at 130 parts per million to experience all of these health benefits. What's really shocking about this research is it's been out for close to 70 years. It's being buried. So when you get your deuterium to 130 parts per million, I will show you exactly how to do that in this video, somewhere towards the end. It has the effects on the following conditions: the big C prevention, the big C treatment, depression, diabetes, memory, anti-aging, and sports performance. Why? Because it protects your mitochondria when it is 130 ppm and below. And here's some more research. So it's protecting your DNA, the organelles in the cells themselves, the tissues, the organs, the whole you, everything. Anti-C, brain metastases, lung C, breast C, pancreatic C, colorectal C, prostate C, melanoma C, list goes on and on. Neuroprotective, anti-anxiety, depression, enhances memory. Anti-aging, antioxidant, because it's protecting your DNA and your cells from the telomeres shortening, and it also increases the enzymes in your antioxidant system. So you've got a very powerful antioxidant system. Other conditions that it manages is obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure. It enhances detox, anti-inflammatory, and anti-radiation, including non-native EMF and radiation from the sun. Super important. Now, the reason it destroys the mitochondria is what you see on screen there. When your mitochondria make energy through the TCA cycle, it breaks your food up into two components, high energy components: hydrogen ions and electrons. So the electrons go into the electron transport chain, and as they're going through complex 1 through to complex 4, all they're doing is sucking up these hydrogen ions. So when there's enough of these hydrogen ions up there, they go down through this protein complex called ATP synthase, and it spins it like a little nanomotor, produces your cellular energy, and they're happy little mitochondria. Now, when your deuterium levels are 130 and greater, some of these deuterium get up there. So let me just explain what that is. You've got 3 isoforms of hydrogen. One is radioactive, so we're not talking about it here today. You've got 2 others. Hydrogen 1 is a proton, and that's what's supposed to be in the mitochondria. Then you've got hydrogen 2, which is a deuterium. Now, deuterium is twice as big and twice as heavy. So it requires more energy to make energy, problem 1. Problem 2 is it's too big, so it doesn't fit down this protein complex. It shudders and busts. Small, weak mitochondria, mutated DNA within the mitochondria. Every 10 years, 10% heteroplasmy, mutated, weak mitochondria, and that's the end result. Fission, damaged mitochondria, small and weak, mutated mitochondria. So here are a list of foods that they tell us to eat. Incidentally, this is behind a paywall. You have to pay to see this research. They tell us to eat these things, and they say the opposite of what is true. They say they are very high in vitamins and minerals, when in fact, 1, they are low in vitamins and minerals. Problem number 2, their deuterium content is anywhere from 145 to 200 or 210 parts per million. So how the hell can we get to 130 when we're eating the foods that are going to increase our deuterium content? Now, they tell us not to eat these foods, the animal proteins, and they lie to us and gaslight us and say they're not very high in vitamins and minerals. Unequivocally false. Very high. And number 2, their deuterium content, 110 to 135 parts per million. Enough said. All right, so what we've talked about so far, you can download this one. It's in the first comment below. That's going to show you how to get your labs right, because as you can see, it is super important to get your labs right, because they're busting your energy. unequivocally busting your energy, busting your mitochondria. And if you're eating the wrong foods all the time, you're eating way too much of this shit, you're loaded with deuterium, and that ain't a good thing. Now, on the next video, now, if you like what you hear, drop a comment below, like and share, because I want to help as many people as I can understand how important this is for health and longevity, especially if you want to keep your man juice for a very, very long time, well into your 90s. Now, if you find that this is a bit complicated for you and you want to reach out to me, I've got information to book a call with me, and I can walk you through our 9 core principles and show you exactly what you need to do specific to your situations. If that's you, information in the caption, book a call with me. Now, in the next video, what I'm going to talk about is redox or detox. So I'll just unpack some of the core principles that we do. So number 1, as the video suggested there, system is busted. Number 2, labs. Number 3, unlock your energy 24/7, right? You can see what we need to do there. Redox to detox, and that's also rebuilding the mito and gut health. So we'll talk about that in the next video. And this video here is identifying what foods you're sensitive to, and I'll talk about that at a later date. And number 6 here, and I'll talk about these at a later date, number 6 is one of the most important ones, I believe. The difference between distress and eustress. So distress is when you feel like shit. Your energy's up, it's down, it's all over the place, you've got anxiety, you're frustrated. And that lowers your testosterone and aromatizes what little testosterone you got left into estrogen. Now, you can trigger eustress, which triggers testosterone production and makes you feel good. Whatever challenge is in front of you, you rise up in front of that challenge and kick ass. And that is how winning is done. Now, this is something I've had to work very hard on because I had social anxiety, performance anxiety, panic attacks, all of those issues. And I could not perform under pressure. I would stammer. I would have ums and ahs. I couldn't remember where I was up to. And once I understood how to trigger eustress and I got all the stress out of my body, I started to kick ass in life. And I'm 54 in 6 weeks as I record this video. So never back the idea that you can't get back into your prime, because you absolutely can. So there it is. That's all I've got for you on this video. There's part of our 9 core principles to get you, your edge back, get back into your prime and live a very long, powerful life and have fun doing it too, especially under pressure. There it is.